Hi friends, I'm Abby and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the end of year book tag and talking through some of my plans for the final 3 months of the year, which I hope to read, anything that I still have ongoing, new releases, just general things that I want to accomplish before the end of the year. I have made like a books to read before the end of the year video, which I can link, which might have some more like ideas and things that I want to read. As a mood reader, nothing is quite fixed. So anyway, are there any books that you have started this year that you need to finish is the first question. So typically I don't really pause books. I would say like once I start a book, I am committed to it unless I decide that I'm just not going to finish it at all and I'm going to put this book down forever. So what I have still to finish are the books that I am currently in the middle of. So I'm currently in the middle of Speaking Bones by Ken Liu, and I am 758 pages into it and I have 300 pages left. So it's taken me a bit longer than I anticipated to read this, but it's fine. The book's really good, it's just taking me longer. So this one is definitely going to be finished by the end of the year because I am working through it. I am also currently listening to The Return of the King, so I anticipate that I will be finishing this by the end of the year, hopefully in the next couple of days. So I am about a third of the way in. I've read just over 100 pages of it and I have about 200 pages left. Solid progress on this is being made. So those are 2 books that I anticipate finishing by the end of the year, and hopefully by the end of the next few days as well. But otherwise, I don't have any books that I have started and then put down that I need to come back to, because that's just not something that I really do. Do you have any autumnal books to transition into the end of the year? Right, well, I feel like my sort of transitioning into the end of the year is that I really want to finish my series, that is where my mood gets to. I don't feel like I'm that much of a seasonal reader where I'm reading like romances during the summer and like, I don't know, gothic things during the autumn. That's not really me. I don't really read with the seasons. I read with whatever my mood picks up, and most of the time that is fantasy. But I feel as though the winter is like the perfect time for epic fantasy and like being just like in the middle of an epic fantasy series. Like it does feel more fantasy than romance this time of year. So the things that I thought of as like transitional reads is potentially the Golden Enclaves, because you know, back to school setting. So I figured that potentially, because this is a school setting and traditionally when you think of like September, October, that is when you go back to school after the summer. So going into this school setting, it will transition me into autumn and winter. And then also just embracing that sort of like epic fantasy. I was thinking The Ninth Reign could be like a good transitional read. I don't actually know what season this is set in, because if this is set in summer, then that would not be great. But I feel like this gives me like autumn winter vibes from the cover and my interpretation of it, and that this is sort of a genre-bending fantasy with various elements mixed in. And I feel like I'm going to really enjoy this. So I feel like this could transition me into the next season. Are there any new releases that you are still waiting for? I have a video where I talk about 10 new releases for October, November and December, which I can link. So those are some of my anticipated releases. I think like the one that I'm most interested in is The Lost Metal by Brandon Sanderson. I don't think anyone's going to be that surprised by seeing that as an anticipated release. I think quite a few people are going to be anticipating it. I am already imagining like my YouTube subscription feed is going to be like a Lost Metal review, Lost Metal review, Lost Metal discussion, Lost Metal cosmic implications, like anything like is, and people are going to race to finish it like as quickly as possible to get all the reviews out. I can foresee it all. I can foresee it now. I think that's the one that I am most anticipating, and out of that list is probably the one that I'm most likely to read when it comes out. Purely because I am working on reading that series right now. What are 3 books that you want to read before the end of the year? So with my theme of wanting to complete series that I've been working on and making progress in them, as you can see, I am doing that currently based on what I am in the process of reading. That I am reading Speaking Bones and The Return of the King, so 2 series finales. So I'm definitely working on that. And then I've already mentioned The Golden Enclave, which is another series finale. Like I'm definitely you know, you can see what I'm trying to work on here. 3 other ones. I've realised I've only picked up 2. So the big one, the main one, which is probably like 3 books in one when you actually think about the pages, is Oathbringer by Brandon Sanderson. I've had this on multiple TBRs now. This book is haunting me. It is ridiculous now that I've still not started it or read it or done any attempt at opening this book, aside from holding it up in videos. But this one I really do want to read by the end of the year. I have been like looking at my rest of the year because I do have quite a lot on. I am going to be traveling with work quite a bit. I am going to be traveling for myself, so I'm going to have a lot of time not at home, and ideally I'd want to read this at home. So part of me is feeling as though this might end up being like a December read potentially, or maybe middle of November, but I feel as though when I actually look at the year, it's looking really, really busy. That is making me question when I am going to read this, that I do really want to read it by the end of the year because it's getting ridiculous. But also, when I'm looking at the year, I don't know when it's going to happen because I'm one of those people that generally, once I pick up a book, I want to read the whole book through. I don't typically like to break books up that much, because then I can struggle to get back into something. I don't feel as though I'm going to want to be reading like 200 pages and then putting this book down for something else and then another 200 pages. Like, I want to be probably reading it through. And it's going to be finding the time to actually be able to read this through in like a 2-week period. Another series finale, or a duology finale, is A Destination Called Peace. This one I feel like will be easier to fit in because it is that much smaller, but I really thoroughly enjoyed A Memory Called Empire, which I read in August, so I definitely want to continue with this duology, finish it off, hopefully enjoy this one as much as I enjoyed the first one. And then just a final continuation in a series that I'm working on is 10,000 Stitches by Olivia Atwater, the second book in the Regency Fairy Tales series. So the first book being Half a Soul, which I read and really enjoyed, and these are light, fun reads. So I figured that when thinking about books that I want to finish by the end of the year, I can't just be putting the very large epic fantasies on this list, because however much I want to read those, I also need to break it up with some lighter reads. So 10,000 Stitches should hopefully be able to fit in the place as something light and fun that I can squeeze in. And then, is there a book that you think could surprise you and become a favourite of the year? So I find this question is a bit of a weirdly phrased, because if it's a surprise, it would be one that I'm thinking is not going to be 5 stars going in. But actually, I want to be picking up 5-star books, and so it shouldn't really be a surprise if it's going to be a new favourite. I guess in some ways, if it's a sequel, it's going to be less of a surprise, because it's a sequel. I already have expectations from the first book, so those ones I will leave out of this. I do have a stack of first books in series that I might potentially read, and these would be more of a surprise than a second book in a series, but not really a surprise because I do anticipate that I'm going to really thoroughly enjoy all of these books. So the first one I've already mentioned, and that's Ninth Reign. I feel like this book is going to be for me. So I feel like there are multiple characters in this. You have Lady Vincenza Vintage de Grayson, and she has offered employment to Tormelin the Oathless, and they're joined by a fugitive witch. And I think there's sort of like a vampiric type creature in this that drinks on the blood of other people, but they're not necessarily called vampires directly, but I just feel like we're going to get along. And then I could read the whole trilogy. And then a couple of, I guess, more newer releases. I have Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan, the first book in a duology, which I'm hoping to read and then hopefully read the second book as well if I enjoy it. And this one you are following Xingying, and she is being raised away from the Celestial Kingdom by her mother, and then due to some events she ends up in the Celestial Kingdom being trained alongside the Emperor's son, and I believe there is some magic involved, and her mother maybe is in danger and she is having to embark on this quest to rescue her. This could be a fun fantasy romance. I don't know how romantic it is, but I feel like it fits into the mould of fantasy romance. And then the final new release that I feel like is going to be for me is The Final Strife by Sarah L. Arifi. That there are these sets of trials to decide the new emperor for this realm, and our main character is going to go in but will she go in to rule the empire, or will she go in to destroy it? I believe this is quite dark, but I'm very excited to give this one a try. I feel like, again, that this one is going to be for me. So those are some books that I feel like could surprise me. Surprise being that I have never read from these authors before, so I do not know if their writing styles are going to work for me. But based on the synopsis and what people have said, I wouldn't be surprised if I actually really like them. And then the final question is, have you already started making reading plans for 2023? And no, I don't really think that I have been making any reading plans for 2023. Nothing like concrete. I mean, as long as I manage to read Oathbringer this year, then I would assume I would read Rhythm of War next year. I think there are a few series that I have ideas that I want to read, like especially if they have the sequel and the finale coming out next year. Either I will want to read the whole series or restart the series, so rereading and finishing the Skyward series, for example, or the Cassandra Clare one that she has. Like, I want to finish that series. So I feel as though some of my reading is going to be dictated by the finales that are coming out next year. So potentially things like The Jasmine Throne, because I would assume that the third and final book will come out in that series. So I feel like that might dictate my reading a little bit. But those are the only things I've really thought of. Like, I haven't planned any videos, or I haven't like planned any secret TBRs or anything like that. I haven't made any concrete plans. Probably just continue with the series that I've started, start a few, hopefully enjoy everything that I'm reading, and yeah, there we go. So let me know if you have made any plans for 2023, or if you're just like me and you're just going to wing it. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my future videos. Bye!